All right, so sampling methods. Consider each of the situations. Do you think the proposed sampling method is appropriate, and explain? So we want to know what percentage of local doctors accept Medicaid patients. We call the offices of 50 doctors randomly selected from the local Yellow Page listing. So,
Yes, definitely appropriate.
okay.
Because they're only looking for like a select few of individuals from a certain.
How much do you know about the Yellow Pages?
Nothing.
Okay, so it's like a phone book for
Okay,
businesses.
that's what I thought.
I would say that the way that they went about it of randomly selecting, that part's fine, but it does cost money to list in the Yellow Pages, so a lot of offices may not list there. So the thought is that there could be under coverage because it's only going to the people who are listed there as opposed to like everyone in the area. Like randomly selecting, like if you said, you're Googled, blah, 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 that would be a little different because it's like everybody should be there. So I would say the random part is good, but it's probably under coverage because not everyone is in the Yellow Pages, or not every office. In the Yellow Pages because it costs money to list. But if they said they Googled doctor's offices on the peninsula and then they randomly selected 50 of them, that would be fine because it was randomly selected. They went through the big area of it and then they picked. And I mean, I would argue that everyone's office should be on Google in some fashion. So, but you probably could still argue under coverage even so. We want to know what percentage of local businesses anticipate hiring additional employees in the upcoming month. We randomly select a page in the Yellow Pages and call every business listed there. This one is probably also going to be a problem if you know nothing about Yellow Pages. So, Yellow Pages are listed by type of business. So, like all doctor's offices, all dentist offices, all restaurants. Like, they're all going to be listed together. Okay, why?
Because you're looking for local businesses, but they're calling every business on that page.
Yeah.
In that section.
And it's probably all the same type of business.
Okay.
So, it's likely to give you all the same type of business. Because that's how it's organized. It is not a representation of all types of businesses. So you could argue it's under coverage or cluster. And that it's a cluster sample. And I don't remember if they're necessarily alphabetical or not, but obviously that could also be a problem if they're alphabetical. You're only getting, A, B, and C instead of, everybody else. All right. The next one, quality control. Sammy Salsa, a small local company, produces 20 cases of salsa a day. Each case contains 12 jars and is imprinted with a code indicating the date of I guess the batch number. To help maintain consistency at the end of each day, Sammy selects 3 jars of salsa, weighs the contents, and tastes the product. Help Sammy select the sample jars. Today's cases are coded 07N61 through 07N80. So carefully explain your sampling strategy. So we're not actually going to run the sample. We're just gonna talk about how we would do it, or how we would tell him to do it if he was gonna be sampling it. So obviously normally we use like the numbers on the calculator. This is, I mean, you can still do that, or you can use the random number table, either way. But it's the number 61 through 80. Okay, so I would say 61 through 80 represents the 20 cases. Pick, because he wants to sample 3 jars, so pick 3 2-digit numbers. We're going to ignore repeats. And any number outside the range. So if you're using your calculator, you can select, obviously, the numbers that you want specifically. But if you were to use the random number table, you would need to ignore the ones outside of that. So that narrows down the case that it's coming from. Then from each case, we need one of the jars. So we would then use 0, 1 through 12, because we need 2-digit numbers. Now, if you're doing it on your calculator, you can just do 1 through 12. To represent 12 jars. In each case, select 1 jar from each case, or from each selected case. So you could theoretically, obviously you don't know what's going to pop up on a random number generator, but if you selected it, your first case, you could pull jar 3, your second case, you could pull jar 3, and your third one, the same thing. Not necessarily intentionally, but it could happen. So with these, we can have a repeat because it's coming out of a different case, but we can't pull 2 jars from the same case. So that's why we had to do no repeats up here. So show how to use random numbers to pick 3 jars. So this is more so what kind of sample would we use? So like our cluster, stratified, simple random sample, whatever they all were. I'm trying to blanking on the other one at the moment. Multi-stage. What would we use to do this? Okay, how would you do that then? Or how would you, if you were going to do a cluster sample, how would you do it?
That's a great question. Well, since there are like 20 different cases and there's 12 jars in each case, that would make it a cluster. But I'm not sure how you would use cluster.
Okay.
I don't know.
Ethan, any thoughts?
Good ocean state.
So I would say multi-stage / cluster, because like you said, it technically is clustered. but there's more than one level to this. So initially we have to select 3 cases at random. And then we need to select 1 jar from each case. So that's why it's like multi-stage or cluster, because you've got 2 different things that you're pulling from. But did you use a simple random sample? Explain.
Yes, because any of the jars could be picked and any of the cases could be picked. So like, it's not necessarily geared toward like, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, every jar has an equal opportunity or chance to get picked.
But can I pick 3 jars from the same case?
No.
So it's not.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah.
It's everyone needs to. So yes, like you're right in saying every jar has an equal chance of being selected initially, but once that first one is done, that the other 11 in there cannot be pulled.
Yeah. Okay.
So technically no in this method. All jars could not be selected. Because it's not possible to get all 3 jars from the same case. All right, any questions about those 2?